so that
Wait, you say all these things. Does anyone else notice this, that he says these things casually, but they're like groundbreaking? Hello and welcome to Exploring AI with Arghon. I'm Lauren Brown, Arghon's Chief Creative Officer, here today with
Collie Brown, Arghon CEO.
Alrighty. We're going to get a glimpse into Arghon's really powerful and very cool ecosystem of services. So that's all the AI services, this cool platform that we've got on offer. You ready to talk about it?
Sure.
All right, cool. So recent news companies have demonstrated some of their products and described them as AI. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, some services are AI, a lot of them are not. But the AI is attached to everything these days. But
it's the it word right now.
It's the
buzzword.
it word. It's the it word. You take an old technology and you slap a title, a new phrase, and voila, you've got this new thing.
All right. So, how does Arghon go about knowing what to say to someone? How is we're talking about AI now, right? And how would you describe Arghon's interaction and that process?
So, because Arghon is a personal AI, it's designed so that you speak to it over time. And as you speak to it, it will learn more and more and more about you.
Like a relationship.
A relationship, exactly. It is exactly a relationship. And that relationship, when you first meet somebody, you obviously don't know much about each other.
Right.
But over time, you get to know more, and that can lead to more fuller conversations. So when you first meet somebody, you probably want to use something generic, and hopefully the other person likes the generic thing, and so there's a commonality there.
So that's like Arghon starting off with the basics about you and what you fill in with, setting up your profile, but then there's the, day-to-day interaction and talking.
Exactly.
And then that would flow into naturally the ecosystem, bringing the user into that experience. So explain for users out there, when we say the Arghon ecosystem, what does that mean? What are they experiencing?
Well, for the user, they're not aware of the ecosystem. They're experiencing the ecosystem, but they're not. There's nothing that says ecosystem on it.
You have now entered the ecosystem.
Yeah, which would be kind of cool if there was a virtual world way to do that.
One day.
One day. But really, what's happening is that the services and things, products and services that they're getting, are all coming through the ecosystem.
Right.
So there's a core AI, and then there's all these services that a user will need or potentially will need, and those services are all channeled through the ecosystem.
Okay. How would you compare what Arghon's capabilities are on our ecosystem through our platform to other companies that are, saying or that claim to offer AI? How would you compare them?
One quick way for the public to distinguish or to see that there's a difference is in the interaction itself. Oftentimes the interaction is just one command, turn the light on or turn the light off or something like that.
So that's what people are seeing today with a lot of bigger companies that are, they might have really great ads, but it's all just that vending machine of
exactly.
One response, one request, and then a response coming back.
It's a basic question response or command action response. And for the user, for the public, that's kind of cool in a way because they didn't have that before.
They don't have anything to compare it to.
Nothing to compare it to.
Right, but then you bring in Arghon.
Right, which then adds on. We'll ask more follow-up questions and start to interact with you in a different way, in a more sophisticated way, and that's true AI. I mean, that's when you really start to get into the benefits of AI.
So when it's getting that personal, interactive, it's back and forth with you. It's knowing what you want and
or following up on something you said. If you said something, maybe your head is hurting or something like that. What does it do? What does it do in terms of with that information? It's that follow up. That is.
So when you say what does it do? Okay, so because remember now, people are hearing about all of this for the first time. You just said that really casually because you're so used to it. But when you say follow up, that's a really big thing. In relationships, just normal human interaction. If I say something to you like, "Oh, I have a headache," the normal empathetic response is, "Oh, okay. So did you did you take an Advil, or if it's a day later, it's did your head ever stop hurting? What happened there? And that's what a follow-up looks like in natural human interaction. And what you're saying is, go ahead.
And that's what a follow-up looks like in Arghon. If you tell it your head is hurting, I think it's going to try to empathize with your head and probably try to suggest something or ask if you've done something about it.
Right.
The same way a friend. Remember, it's your assistant, but it's also your friend.
Yeah, I mean, the word I like to use when I think about it is companion. I think companion in so many ways is accurate, because there's the best friendship, but there's also a companion is there to aid you as well.
Exactly.
More than an assistant, almost you kind of don't necessarily have a relationship
with your... It's too clinical.
Yes, I think it's quite sterile for what Arghon's really offering. So the comparison, when you're comparing what's currently on offer, what people might be aware of right now is AI to what Arghon brings, that major thing you'd highlight is the relationship. It's the interactive, it's the true interaction. That's way more like intelligence.
Yes, and that's where you learn. That's where, so this is for you, the public in general, anybody, business people. If your AI is not following up or asking you to clarify something, it is not AI. Unless it's all-knowing and it knows everything about you from day one.
Which is impossible.
Yeah.
No relationship works that way.
Exactly.
It's not natural.
Exactly. I mean, if you meet somebody and you strike up a friendship, they're gonna be empathetic and they're gonna follow up when you mention something. But we don't see that in the examples. What we see in the examples are very abbreviated. It's just a question with a command and a response.
A vending machine.
A vending machine, essentially, and it's almost like a voice switch. Turn the light on. It's a voice switch.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but again, it's not complete.
That's not AI either. That's
that
voice command.
aspect of it is not AI.
Yeah, but, not specifically.
Right, but don't tell that to the people who are telling you that they have.
Well, we're not telling them. We're telling the audience.
Exactly. So. Yeah, but you need. I mean, an AI is supposed to be learning and learn about you.
And that's what Arghon does.
Right.
All right. So we know that Arghon is available for users right now. Go to our website to download. Link is below in the description. They can access all these services and really cool things like setting reminders, and you're having these conversations and you're booking appointments. So can users see things like that, or can our viewers get a glimpse of that, or is that something that we're leaving hidden?
No, actually, so there are two ways you're going to see it. So I guess we'll show you one, we'll demonstrate one for you, but you can also go and install the app and actually ask it to remind you to do something.
Yeah.
So you can demonstrate it for yourself, and that's probably the most powerful way, because you're actually driving the process. But we'll also show you some cool demonstrations.
So if you want to see Arghon in action, booking an appointment and managing your schedule, stay tuned and look at this example we have right now.
So Arghon Personal AI is able to manage your schedule and to keep track of your appointments and keep you on time. So I'm just going to find out what's on my schedule. And I see I have just two things on my schedule. I have a 6:30 wake up, and I've got a call I have to make to mom later today. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Arghon to set up a meeting. Set up a meeting with my friend John. And it's going to ask me what dates. I'm going to say TODAY at 6 p.m. John is not my friend in this scenario. It's not in my contact list, so it's asking me for John's email. So in this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and put John's email in. What Arghon is going to do is notify John about this, because even though John is not on Arghon, Arghon is going to reach out to John and let John know there's a meeting today. And so now he just updated my calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and ask what is on my schedule. And you see, at 6 o'clock I have a meeting with John. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. Arghon powerfully reaches out to outside folks who are being invited to meeting by Arghon users. and it does this using email and other techniques. And so it's going to keep, if I were to change this meeting to say 8 p.m. or 7 p.m., Arghon would obviously sync or let them know that the meeting has changed and moved on to a different time. And so everybody's in sync. Arghon is totally managing your schedule. So there you have it, a powerful way of managing your schedule and the things and the activities you have to do.
All right. So there you see. I mean, Arghon does amazing things for the user. It's about helping you live your best lifestyle. It's a real relationship. It's helping you to book those appointments, manage your schedule, doing all of that stuff, right?
Right. And I want to just add a couple of things here.
Sure.
So the demonstration you just see, if you have an appointment, or let's say you have a meeting that you're going to set up with 3 or 4 people, Arghon will take care of making sure everybody's in sync if you were to move that meeting to a different time frame. So that
you say all these things. Does anyone else notice this, that he says these things casually, but they're like groundbreaking? The fact that, so Arghon is able to not only manage your appointment, but also make sure you stay in sync with everyone else who is a part of that event.
Exactly.
So, you know, if you're the one who hosts the parties at your house, and then if the schedule changes or you know, you push the party back an hour, and then you have to call everybody up and say, hey, listen, no, we're moving it, or it's the group text, and oh my goodness, why not just have, you know, talk to one thing, talk to your AI and say, hey, Arghon, move the appointment or move the event to 3 p.m. or move it to the 17th.
Exactly.
And so like that, you have completely adjusted your schedule, but Arghon did it for you without any effort. That's powerful.
Absolutely very powerful.
Yeah.
It is a very powerful tool. I mean, it's a heck of a time saver too. I mean,
Yeah.
Can you imagine, you know, if let's say you're talking about, just take a small party, 5 people. You have to reach out to 5 people. You may call them and you don't get them, and it's just pain.
Or someone gets the wrong information.
Yeah.
And they can't verify it, or
Exactly.
you know, someone went on vacation so they didn't hear and they showed up on the wrong day. And
It's just yeah. But it's a powerful tool.
Arghon saves all that.
Yes, exactly, and that's what an AI is supposed to do. It's supposed to be able to help you to make your life simpler and more enjoyable.
You know, we're talking about events, gatherings, appointments, scheduling, things like that. What if my friends and I want to go to the movies? You know,
Okay.
is that? I feel like that's a scenario that Arghon can help me with, right?
Yes. Definitely. First of all, there's so many ways you could do this, but we will just stick to one, and then you can play around with your friends. So make sure you get the app and
Download
then
Arghon.
Download Arghon
You can
and
see more of the ways for yourself.
yeah, because you'll definitely see more.
But if you're not going to download it in this very next second, you can have a look at the demonstration of Arghon helping you book those movies and having a great time with your friends.
In this example, we will be demonstrating Arghon's AI commerce capability. If this were a case where somebody was driving, they would be speaking to Arghon, and Arghon would be responding back in voice, and all the interactions would take place using voice. For this example, we're going to go ahead and type. So we're going to ask Arghon for a movie listing. Okay, and so now we go over here. So these are the various movies, obviously it's showing us. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Deadpool 2. And I see, and it's asking me to pick the cinema. So I'm going to go ahead and pick, again, if this were voice, you just speak to Arghon and it would do that for you. And then I pick that. And so now it's giving me the time to choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and pick 10 p.m. And so now it's asking me how many tickets. I'm going to say 2 adults. So it's asking me to make sure I go ahead and confirm. Again, I'm just going to say yes. I'm going to have to put in my So as you can see, it's going ahead and it's booking the ticket. Now, this is AI commerce at its finest, because a lot of that, first of all, you wouldn't have to go to a browser. You wouldn't have to go to multiple apps. Within Arghon, you can do many things, including request a ride. And of course, if you're driving, you can also do all of that transaction while you're driving, speaking to Arghon. This is the power of AI commerce. And Arghon, this is just a small example of what Arghon can do. So in our next example, we'll show you additional AI capabilities that Arghon has, and that will make your life a lot easier and a lot more smoother.
So there you have it. I mean, isn't that amazing that you can have a social life in Arghon, you can have your appointments, you can have interactions with Arghon. This is the next level of lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle. AI is a lifestyle change, a lifestyle upgrade.
Hey!
That's really what it is.
Insert like Beyonce upgrade you right here.
You know, we don't do this capability yet, but in a very short time it's going to be there, which is, people,
which capability?
We're talking about, like, this is a capability that we're working on right now for Arghon, so it'll be available.
So this is like secret stuff.
Yeah, you're getting a little insight to
peek.
the thing.
Yeah.
But imagine, for example, you have your driver's license and it needs to be renewed. You know what a pain that is? You got to go down to the motor vehicle, or sometimes you can do it online. But most of the time, do you really remember?
No.
You don't really remember.
At least not until it's like too late.
And maybe most times, when people remember?
What, when they're being pulled over?
Exactly. That's exactly when. And
we really want to avoid those scenarios.
We definitely want Arghon to help you avoid those scenarios. But these are, these things like that. I mean, an AI is a powerful tool, and like I said, it's a lifestyle upgrade. It's going to make your life a lot more streamlined and easier.
How would you say Arghon is so much more than the demonstrations we've seen and these examples we've listed here?
So we mentioned the word the ecosystem. So for business folks, they would understand the word ecosystem. But if you're general purpose, somebody on the street who is not technology oriented, essentially what the ecosystem means are, when you hear the term, what you should think of is, think of a million different services that some entity provides. And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the Arghon ecosystem has there are virtually no limits on it. In other words, we can keep adding service for the next 100 years, 200 years. In other words, we're here for the long haul.
Yeah, I mean,
and as services, exactly, and as things change and times change also. But right now, it's about providing you things that you need. You're driving down, let's say you're in a state, you're driving someplace, you're out of town, and you're running low on gas. You want to know where the next gas station is.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to go, and be pulled over at the side of the street, out of fuel, in the middle of nowhere. That's just not something that you want. And that's as simple as us asking Arghon, where's the nearest gas station? So, and that comes through the ecosystem. The ecosystem provides those. So you have the AI brain, and then you have this thing that the AI brain goes to and says, I need this for this particular user.
Yeah.
So that's the best definition of the AI from the ecosystem in terms of how it's used and how it integrates with the AI itself.
So it's about the personal experience of getting the maximum number of services when you need them, how you need them, customized to you.
Exactly, and the big difference between that and apps is, first you got to go download a million apps, because everything we talked about is essentially a different app. Exactly. Yeah. Everything we talked about earlier is like a different app, and so you'll have app fatigue. In other words, it won't take long before
that should be an actual condition, app fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest problems right now, and the other aspect of that is, how do people try to remember all these apps? So fine, you downloaded all the apps, but if you have 25 apps on your phone, do you remember all of them? And in a crunch, when you need something right away, just talk to the AI.
Yeah.
Done.
So to see more of this amazing stuff, because we've got so many demos coming up, and like you said, there's hundreds of services. It's about expanding and creating a lifestyle upgrade for you. So to keep watching and keep seeing all of that, subscribe to this channel. And you'll get more Arghon demos, more amazing insight into the world of AI and how that applies to the businesses, the users, and the world in general. And thank you, Kali, for being here today. Subscribe, click the notification icon, share this channel with your friends, give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye.
Subscribe to this channel, where weekly we'll explore what it means to connect to your world through artificial intelligence. And to be part of the Arghon journey, follow us on social media.